Good afternoon and welcome to Lunch and Learn with the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center. Today we are doing government contracting and our topic for today is federal grants. My name is Mary Jo Williams. I'm the Network Training Coordinator for the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center. And before we begin, I'm going to share a little video with you about the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, one in English, one in Spanish, and then we'll have a message from the delegate. So hold on and sit tight.
Has your business been affected by COVID-19? The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is available to assist entrepreneurs and small businesses in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The VI SBDC is sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration and collaborates with local agencies to support the small business community. The VI SBDC is nationally accredited and provides free consulting, business education training, and technical assistance. Attend workshops with subject matter experts from both the public and private sector. From idea generation to exit strategies, the staff at the VI SBDC is ready to assist you. Now is the time to contact them if you need assistance with the Federal Paycheck Protection Program, as this funding opportunity is scheduled to end May 31st, 2021. So don't wait. Call or email them to find out how they can help your business grow and succeed.
¿Su negocio ha sido afectado por COVID-19? El Centro de Desarrollo de Pequeñas Empresas está disponible para ayudar a los empresarios en las Islas Vírgenes de los Estados Unidos. El VISBDC es sostenido por la Universidad de las Islas Vírgenes y la Administración de Pequeñas Empresas de los Estados Unidos para apoyar a la comunidad de negocios pequeños. El VISBDC está acreditado a nivel nacional y ofrece consultoría gratuita, educación empresarial y asistencia técnica. Asiste a talleres con expertos en la materia, tanto del sector público como del privado. Desde generaciones de ideas hasta estrategia de salida, el personal del VISBDC está listo para ayudarlo. Ahora es el momento de contactarlos si necesita ayuda con el Programa Federal de Protección de Pago, ya que esta oportunidad de financiamiento está programada para finalizar el 31 de mayo del 2021. Llame o envíe un correo electrónico para averiguar cómo puede ayudar a que su negocio crezca y tenga éxito.
Good day. I'm Stacy Plaskett, Delegate to Congress for the Virgin Islands of the United States. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to this government contracting webinar series. The VI Small Business Development Center, along with my team, have worked collaboratively over the past few weeks to pull together the invaluable resources and information that will be shared over the next month and a half. There are a number of excellent opportunities available to us as Virgin Islanders, and once we are armed with the right knowledge and opportunities, we have the capacity to truly build the future that we deserve. It is my hope that the details and resources provided will be a significant help for each of you who participate. A special thank you to Mary Jo Williams and the VI Small Business Development Center team who put this together, and thank you to each of you for joining us.
Okay, I'm back. Again, my name is Mary Jo Williams. I'm the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center Network Training Coordinator. And as such, it's my pleasure to bring together all of these webinars and people to give you guys great information. Now, today's presenter is Ms. Judy Ceresa, and she is a Senior Program Advisor in the Grants.gov Program Management Office, where she has worked for the past several years, primarily providing support to both applicants and grantors that use Grants.gov. Before that, Judy spent 17 years working in various offices throughout the Health Resources and Service Administration, including the Office of Grants Policy. Her background is program management as well as information technology management. So Judy has a lot of information to share with you guys today. So I hope you have your pens and paper ready so you can take notes. And with that, Ms. Judy Ceresa, you can share your screen and start your presentation.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that introduction. You can hear me okay, Mary Jo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Today I'm just going to give you guys kind of an overview of the Grants.gov system and how to basically navigate it if you're new to the federal grants world. There's a few things on the agenda that I'll cover briefly. Now, this presentation itself can be and will be mailed out to you after the webinar is finished. So if you have any questions during my talk, you can certainly refer back to that document or ask questions at the end of the presentation. So we're going to go over navigating the Grants.gov system. And this is especially important for people that are new to federal grants. If not, some of this may just be a refresher. I'll talk a little bit about the registration process, how to use Grants.gov to search for grant funding opportunities, what is in a federal grant funding opportunity, how to use what we call Workspace to prepare and submit your grant application.
Excuse me, Judy.
Yes.
Can you share your screen?
Oh, I'm not sharing.
Not yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I thought I was sharing.
You are sharing information, but you just didn't see the screen.
Okay, hold on.
Put their
Do
question.
you see my screen now or no?
Let's see here.
Hold on, let me just share now. Yeah, you should be able to see it, I believe. Can you see it now?
I don't, but if somebody can raise your hand if you see it, that would be great.
Okay, what about if I try this?
Okay.
Hold on.
So you open the share screen and then you find the screen that you want, click on it, and then the bottom right corner, you click share.
Right. Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. Oh, I missed that part. Okay, now you should be able to see it. Sorry. Like
Okay.
going back and forth between Teams and
And click on
WebEx.
slideshow.
Okay, ready?
Well, click on slideshow and start from the beginning.
Sure. It's only one slide, actually. So here's
Click
the
on
beginning.
slideshow and start.
Okay, can you see now?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm on the very first slide, which you see a picture of the Capitol.
Correct.
Okay. So anyway, where did we leave off? Okay, applying with Workspace, which is, I'll go into more detail as we move forward. Applicants need to track their application to see it through its submission. And at the very end, I'll provide some tips and support resources for you as applicants that are available to you. So if you've never been to grants.gov and you click on, if actually you just go to your browser and you type in grants.gov and hit enter, it will bring you to a page that looks similar to this. This is our homepage. And I've highlighted the two tabs that you're going to be most interested in at first, I believe. And so those are the search grants and the applicants tabs. We have a lot of resources on our site. We have YouTube videos that we've created that walk you through the entire process of actually registering, searching, applying, submitting, getting help on our website. The YouTube videos are small, short snippets of like 2 to 3 minutes. So, you know, they don't go on and on and on. And you can select from those videos the area in which you're having trouble. We also have training materials and so forth. And we also have a support desk, help desk that you can contact 24 hours a day, 7 days a week as an applicant if you have questions or need assistance. We also set up a page on Grants.gov under the tab Learn Grants that you can get to easily from the homepage. And this page basically just gives you kind of an idea of, it's like a basic 101 introduction of the federal grants life cycle. There's information as well under that tab about grant policies and basically explains how grants come about, you know, who creates a grant program and how that all works. There's information about grant terminology, and then also too, when we know about them, we will post upcoming trainings and conferences and so forth. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We also have a way for you to request email notifications. We have a subscription service. So if you have a Grants.gov account, if you don't already have one, I encourage you to create one. And this will give you access to basically save searches that you've created. It will give you access to request newsletters to be sent to you and other messaging. We have a blog, you'd have access to that as well. And also you can sign up to receive emails that will notify you when a funding opportunity becomes available that you may be interested in. So the registration process is currently about 3 steps. Now these steps take some time, so you want to make sure that you register early in order to submit your application. So the first step in the process is that you would need to go, if you don't already have one, and you're an organization, and for purposes of this presentation, I'm just going to focus on the registration process for organizations, because most of the opportunities that are posted on Grants.gov are for organizations. So you would register with, you would have to get what we call a DUNS number. And you would do that by going to the Dun & Bradstreet website. This, before you go, will require that you have your tax ID number. And there's some other IRS organization information that they'll be asking you for. To get a DUNS number, it usually doesn't take very long, just a day or 2. Once you have a DUNS number, typically what happens is the person within your organization that oversees all the business tasks and so forth will need to register at the sam.gov website. Now, if you have contracts, you'll be familiar with sam.gov. It stands for the System for Award Management. And it is hosted by the General Services Administration, or GSA. So at that time, when you go in to register with your DUNS, using your DUNS in sam.gov, you would basically be establishing what we call in Grants.gov the EBiz point of contact, or EBiz POC. This again is the person that oversees all the organization, all the activities that the organization will be involved with when using Grants.gov. This person also is responsible for approving, assigning roles, and actually affiliating you if you're not already affiliated with that particular organization, and assigning you various roles, such as what we call the Authorized Organization Representative role, or AOR, which is the role that you must have in order to submit an application. And I'll get into a little bit more detail going forward. So the sam.gov registration can unfortunately take some time, and I do believe that there's a big backup there now. But never fear, if there's an opportunity available to you and the close date ends in, I think it's 24 to 48 hours, if you call our help desk, they'll help navigate you through that issue if you're having issues getting a DUNS or activating your SAM account in order for you to submit an application. And again, this is all on behalf of the organization that you're affiliated with. Going forward, just so you know, the DUNS number, the Dun & Bradstreet website, where you're issued a DUNS number, is actually going to go away. And it will be completely gone, I believe, next year. The DUNS numbers that you receive now will become what we call the Unique Entity Identifier, or UEI. And you will hear a little bit more about that if you take part in the world of federal grants and, I believe, contracts. I don't unfortunately know much about contracts. I'm a grants person. So this is just a peek at what the pages look like, you know, where you enter your name and you email address and you set up your Grants.gov account. So I talked a little bit about some of the roles. So each organization will have one EBiz POC. To recap, the POC, EBiz, Electronic Business Point of Contact, or EBiz, will assign your roles once they've affiliated you with the organization. So there's three basic roles, I would say. There's the EBiz, there's the AOR. With that role, you'll be able to submit applications. And we also have what we call the Workspace Manager role. And that I'll go into more detail as we move forward. But these are the primary roles that you would have in Grants.gov as representatives of the organization that you are a part of. So searching grants can be somewhat of a challenge, but I'm going to just go over some of the key features that you can use. Just keep in mind that Grants.gov is where 26 federal grant-making departments, their agencies and their sub-agencies, go to post their federal discretionary grant programs. This is a place where you would go to search for grant funding opportunities. Now, to start your search, if you have no idea what you're really looking for, you can type in a keyword or a key phrase, and that will hopefully result in some grants that will provide you with some information, or even be something that you may be interested in applying for. When you go to the search page, the default on the left-hand side, as you can see under opportunity status, is set to pull up all opportunities that are currently in a forecasted status or a posted status. If you want, you can check the closed status and the archive status, and many people use this, I do as well. If you're looking for an older funding opportunity, you don't see one that's currently available or posted for you to apply for, but you want to know, well, has there ever been a grant funding opportunity posted for this particular subject, or by this particular agency for a certain project that you're interested in getting funding for. So again, as you move down the left navigation of the system, you'll see a heading called the funding instrument type, and they're usually grants, and the eligibility. And if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see information about the funding agency and contact information often there, or a website that you can go to for more information. And you can also save these searches if you have a Grants.gov account. So this is kind of what a forecast is in a few words and some screenshots. So a forecast is basically a projection of what a federal agency is planning to make available to you in the future. And you want to just take note of what that status is. You can't apply for a forecasted opportunity. It has to be currently open, and the status would read, I'm sorry. The status would read posted. If you were to select the synopsis, so a lot of opportunities don't have forecasts, they just have a synopsis. So if you click on the synopsis of the opportunity and you scroll down, you'll see some pretty valuable information. You'll see the basic funding opportunity number, the open date and the close date of the funding opportunity, an estimate of the program funding amount that the agency is planning to fund for that particular program, and the estimated number of awards that the agency is planning to make. If you continue to scroll down a little bit further in the synopsis, there'll be a detailed explanation about the program, as well as contact information on behalf of the agency. Version history is another tab within the opportunity that you can also look under to make sure that the funding opportunity itself has not been modified. There's times when when agencies will have to go in and they'll have to extend a deadline, or they may change eligibility criteria or something like that. So you want to just make sure that you click on that to see maybe what they've changed, especially if you've applied for the opportunity and then you see that they've changed something, you may have to resubmit your application. You can also sign up to receive notifications on opportunities that you are interested in applying for. So you will receive an email directly to your email box telling you of those changes. To the right of the version history tab is the related documents tab. And here's where you can find the full announcement or full opportunity announcement. That's going to give you directions. It's going to give you background about the programs. Often they tell you a little bit about the legislation, what the eligibility criteria is going to be, a description of what they're looking for, description of the forms that you'll have to fill out, and so forth. So it's always worth clicking on this link. And I understand that going forward, all federal agencies are going to have to post information under this tab. So this gives you a really good idea, or a better idea, of what the agency is looking for in terms of an application that you would be maybe interested in submitting. And then lastly is the package tab. The package tab consists of the application package itself. They are a list of forms that you'll be required to fill out. And you can request to receive notifications if they make a change to the opportunity. You can preview the instructions as well as the application package itself to see what it is you're going to be required. It'll basically show you the forms that you're going to have to fill out that you will be required to fill out as part of your application submission. So a few years ago, Grants.gov set up a place on our site called Workspace. And many people find it very, very helpful. So really what it is it's a place where you can create, if you have the Workspace Manager role, you can create a workspace and invite participants that you know that have a Grants.gov account into your workspace. These people don't even have to be affiliated with your organization or DUNS number. You can pull them in from other places. So if you're, for instance, a grant writer, you can actually, if you know their email address, you can add them to your workspace and they can help you prepare your application. And another thing people really like about it is that you can be working, everyone can be working in the workspace at the same time. So it's not like you're filling out a form and then emailing it, to one of your colleagues to fill out, then they fill it back, then they email it back to you once they've completed the form. This is just an area or a space on our site that allows you to do it all right there. And then obviously when you've completed the application, and there's validation checks in the application to make sure you filled out all the required fields and so forth. Then when you're ready to submit your application, you just click submit. This is a screenshot of a workspace that was just newly created. And what you see there are a list of forms and what their status is. So the financial management system form questionnaire is in progress. Someone has locked it and they're working on it. So you wouldn't be able to access it until that person unlocks it. But it is really a place where a lot of our applicants have found a lot of value, and it makes the whole process a lot easier. There's many fewer mistakes and rejections since we set up Workspace. There we have a view of what the participants tab would look like and the information that you would have to enter when you add someone. Again, there's those roles, the account types. You have the EBiz POC, responsible for assigning roles to everyone in their organization, and then the AOR role, which is the role that you need to have to submit your application. And then, of course, you'll need a Workspace Manager role. Now, you can have all of these roles, or you can have one of these roles, or you can just be a participant that has no specific roles. And all you need is a Grants.gov account, and someone can add you to a workspace. And you'll just work on whatever forms they have asked you to work on. You can also reuse forms from other workspaces, which people find incredibly helpful. Because you don't have to fill out the same information over and over again. So we have two ways that you can fill out forms. One is through a web form where you actually fill out the form online within the workspace. The other format is that you can download a PDF version of the form, fill it out, and upload it into the workspace. So it's just a matter of how you want to work on your piece of the application. So the web form, like this screenshot shows you here, you would select type of submission, for instance. There's a red asterisk in that field. That would be a required field. But the second field, the date submitted, is not required. So there's some drop-down menus and things that have made it somewhat easier, and also where you would add attachments to certain forms and so forth. And again, if you have any questions for that have to do with any of these slides that I'm showing you and the things that I'm saying, and you get to a point where you're stuck and you can't find information on our website, we do have a help desk that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So here's a kind of a peek at what the PDF forms look like. And the reason why we are allowing the use of PDF forms is because there are still places, and I don't know what it's like in the Virgin Islands, but there's many places in the US where people don't have a strong I should say a reliable internet connection. And this way they can download the application forms, fill them out, and then upload them to the workspace when they have better connectivity. And these are if you've ever submitted a grant application before, you would be familiar with the SF424 form. And again, the highlighted areas are required fields that must be filled out in order for you to submit. So you want to make sure that once you submit your application, you basically follow through it to make sure that it is received by the agency. It's incredibly important to do that because you want to make sure that you didn't forget to hit that submit button. You may have gotten confused and you thought you had submitted it. You want to make sure that you have submitted it. So the timeline in green and blue shows you it was created, the forms were passed. This one has not yet been completed. The people working on it have not completed it and notified the AOR to submit. So you want to make sure, like I was saying, you want to track your application, make sure that it gets to where it needs to go. And if you're the AOR and you've submitted the application, you'll receive an email on your computer screen, and it's going to give you it's going to tell you this is your confirmation receipt. And then you'll receive an email that tells you what your Grants.gov tracking number is and the date and time, the official time of your submission. These will all come in the form of emails to the AOR, the person that submits. And the third and fourth emails that you'll receive as an AOR is that the agency has received your agency. The agency has received your application. They've retrieved it from Grants.gov. That's the key. You want to make sure that the agency retrieves your application. And sometimes agencies will assign their own tracking number or notes or other confirmation emails. But for purposes of Grants.gov, you want to just make sure that at some point you get an email notification telling you that the agency has gone into Grants.gov and retrieved your application. Again, you want to track it and make sure it gets there. After you submit, you can download the entire PDF that you've submitted, so you can make sure that everything that you included is in that file. And if the agency, for instance, comes back and says, well, you didn't submit this or you didn't submit that, you'll have a record of exactly what you submitted. A few years ago, we created a mobile app, and people really are happy with it. They use it a lot. You can search for grant opportunities. You can save and edit your queries, your searches that you've gathered. You can get notifications. You can actually complete the application and submit it within the app. And a lot of folks use it, and they use it for all those various tasks. So we have some basic tips that we tell grant applicants. Register and submit your application early. Don't wait until the last minute to get your registration completed. And don't wait till the last day, if you can help it, to submit your application, because anything can go wrong and you don't want to miss the deadline. Federal grants are very competitive, and you need to make sure that you've crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's, that you read the instructions that the agency has provided. And if you have any questions whatsoever about what the agency is looking for, that you reach out to the contact person at that agency and get those questions answered. You want to make sure, obviously, that you include sufficient information in your program project narrative and your budget details. You also want to be careful, and this is for any file anymore, it seems, that you only use the UTF-8 characters. You don't use any special characters. If you're in many of these applications, you'll need to upload an attachment. You want to make sure you don't use a special character in your file name. And lastly, if you plan to download the PDF forms, you'll want to make sure you have a compatible version of Adobe Reader, which is free. We have a pretty big social media presence. We have, like I said, the contact center or support center that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, except for federal holidays. You can also reach us by emailing the support desk at support@grants.gov or call the toll-free number. If you're outside the country, you can call the international number, and your call will be transferred directly to the help desk. Again, we have a blog, and we also will provide system alerts if you have a Grants.gov account. And we have emails, newsletters, and alerts and so forth that we send out as well through our email address, community@grants.gov. So I think at this point, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone may have. I don't know if you've gathered those in the chat.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes.
My name is Beverly Bastian. I have a question, please. I just want to ask, so the first thing to do is to get a DUNS number, and how soon it takes to get the DUNS number?
It shouldn't take you any time, really, a day or two.
Okay. So once I get the DUNS number, then I can go ahead and register for the account on Grants.com?
No, you can register for an account on Grants.gov at any time, but you won't be affiliated with your organization until you have a DUNS. So what you would do is you would get a DUNS number if you don't already have one, and then you would register that DUNS or your organization, because the DUNS is the number that is tied to all your information about your organization. You would register that DUNS in sam.gov. Once you completed your registration, Grants.gov receives that information electronically. So we'll have it in our system. It's at that point that you can begin using Grants.gov, assigning people to have various roles and so forth.
And for anybody that hasn't yet registered and gotten a DUNS number and gotten registered in SAM, the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center can assist you with those processes. So feel free to register at our website, visbdc.org, to become a client, and we can help you with those processes. And one thing to be aware of, once you get into the SAM system, a lot of people will track that. And at some point, you might even get solicited for people to help you with subsequent registrations and things like that. So, but anything that's related to sam.gov is free, related to grants.gov is free, but there are a lot of businesses in business to make money. So they use this as an opportunity to make really easy money.
Yep, and there's a lot of fraud. And you want to make sure that whenever whenever you're on the internet and you're searching for something, you type in, the website you're looking for, whatever, make sure it's a .gov. I can't tell you how many times if I go through, I'll see grants.com. There's a lot of fraud, unfortunately, in our world.
So for businesses that have already gotten their DUNS, they're already on SAM, and you're getting into grants. In general, I'm looking at the certifications. Like we're certified with the state DOT, but it's not showing in SAM. So is the SAM certification different from the certifications required by the federal?
The state may be different. I'm not clear about your question.
So the certifications, when you register in SAM, which
right.
is what you
You're
just talked
registering
about,
your organization, which
correct.
happens to
you
be
have the choice to register as woman, as small business, as a minority, all these different classifications. So there are some classifications that are local, like city, which do not translate to federal.
Right.
But some that should translate to federal, like the North Carolina DOT, Department of Transportation.
Right.
They were saying it should translate to federal, but that's somehow not being tied.
It shouldn't translate. No state government should translate to federal. I don't understand what you mean by translate.
Let me ask it a different way. What is the procedure for registering as a woman, small business, disadvantaged, whatever, all those categories? What's the procedure for doing that on the federal level?
The only people that register as a federal agency are people that work in the federal government.
I'm not trying to register as a federal agency. Let me ask you a question again.
Okay.
As a business,
right.
I'm registered on SAM.gov.
You are.
When you register on SAM.gov, you have the option to pick different categories to certify as. You can certify as a small business. You can certify as a woman-owned business. You can certify as a disadvantaged business, a hub business.
Right.
And there are those same certifications on different levels, state and local. What is the procedure for getting those certification on a federal level if none of the previous ones apply?
I can answer that, Judy.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, go ahead. I was going to tell you to go to sam.gov and find out.
Okay.
They should be able to tell you.
Okay. For small business, you can register to become an 8A business through the Small Business Administration website. But there's a website that's called certified.gov. So that's where you go in to register to be certified for these different types of certifications. It used to be that a woman-owned business would self-certify. They have recently changed some of those certifications. So go to certified.gov to apply for the different certifications that you're looking for.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thanks. Sorry, I didn't know the answer to that one.
It's okay.
Well, I'd like to launch a couple of polls while we're waiting for people. And if you could put your questions in the chat, that would be helpful also. But the poll I want to launch is called, "Where are you located?" And if you could tell us so we'd have an idea, are you on St. Croix, St. John, St. Thomas, Water Island, Puerto Rico, or other? That's sort of telling the Small Business Development Center how much work we have cut out for us after this webinar. Okay, and I will give you guys a few more seconds before I close out the poll. All right, 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're closing the poll now.
Okay.
And of the people that answered, 50% of them are on St. Croix.
I'm sorry, I'm in St. Thomas.
Okay, 50% of the people that answered are on St. Croix, 20% are on St. Thomas, and 30% are other. So you have a very diverse group today, Ms. Sarisa.
That's nice. That's good to see. That was a great question to ask.
Okay.
I really wish I was just down there with you guys. Back up here.
For sure. And I have another question while we wait. Are you registered in SAM? So if you guys could answer that question for us. Again, this will tell the SBDC how much work we have cut out for us. Because the counseling services, if you missed the video at the beginning, the counseling services at the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center are at no charge to you, and it's all confidential. And I will end the poll now. And of the people responding to the poll, 75% are not registered in SAM. You're not going to be able to get any grant money out of the federal government if you're not registered in SAM. So, okay, we want you guys to get registered in SAM. Okay, so are there any other questions that anybody would like to ask? If you could raise your hand and we will acknowledge you, or you could put it in the chat. Oh, wow. Looks like Miss Judy Sarisa is going to get an early lunch break. Okay, well, for those of you that are looking to join us next week, we have some exciting information coming up for you. On Monday, we have a webinar with the Disability Rights Center, and they are going to be talking about hiring incentives for businesses. So that should be a very good webinar. On Tuesday, the SBA is going to do an update on the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, loan program that is going to end by May 31st. So if you have not yet applied for that program, you need to get on the stick. Okay, and then on Wednesday, we have basic financial statements. And that'll be Wednesday afternoon on our Working Wednesday webinar. So we have a lot of good information scheduled for you guys next week. And do we, okay. All right, we have another question. Judy, what is AOR? What does that stand for?
So AOR just means, it stands for the Authorized Organization Representative. The person that registers in SAM is responsible for affiliating someone to, is responsible for affiliating that person with their agency. So the AOR, if you have the AOR role, that means that you have the ability to submit an application. You can't submit an application in Grants.gov unless you have been assigned that role by the EBiz POC. Sometimes in smaller agencies, an AOR and an EBiz POC and the Workspace Manager can be one person. You just have to make sure that you have accounts for those. And the help desk can help you with all of that.
A question, Judy.
Yeah.
A lot of times we see people wanting to set up organizations to be a nonprofit so they can apply for grant money because
Sure.
they think grant money is free money.
Well, it is free to apply for. All these processes are free. It's free for you. The only area that people actually spend money when they're preparing a grant application is some people will hire a grant writer. And usually that's someone that knows the federal grants world really well, and they navigate it well. And it's often worth it for some institutions or organizations, I should say. When you do get a federal grant, though, however, it doesn't cost you money, but it can cost you time because there are a lot of reporting requirements. So, the government is responsible to make sure that the taxpayers' dollars are spent appropriately and wisely and accounted for. So there'll be lots of interactions that you'll have to have with the agency in terms of reporting. I'm trying to think of what they call. So they have performance requirements, performance reporting, and those kinds of things. So, it's not like one and done where you submit an application and then you take your money and you go on and, build your project or your program or whatever. There'll be some, what do they call them? Terms and conditions.
Okay. So yes, you don't have to pay the money back, but you have to report on how it's spent and do those periodic reporting requirements.
Yes.
So which takes time.
Yes. Okay. So time is money, but it's not like you have to write a check.
Okay. I'm not sure of this question, but I'll read it. Can you please explain each of the funding instrument types or provide details on where we can distinguish between each type?
So funding instrument type, there's a difference between a grant and a contract, and we get this question a lot. Most of everything that's posted on Grants.gov is in the form of a grant. There are very few, or a cooperative agreement. You might hear that term sometimes. So grants and cooperative agreements are pretty much the same, only the difference is that with a cooperative agreement, there's a little bit of oversight. With a contract, it's a vehicle in which you get money from the government, but it's managed and very differently, and it's also funded very differently. I don't know why we have funding instrument type that lists contract. I'm not sure why that is. It should be taken down, but I don't think you'll find too many on our website that say that. I hope that answered your question.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Ms. Brooks? If not, you can ask for some clarification.
Please.
Yeah, it answers it. That's enough. But there's another category called other.
Yes.
What kind of funding instruments fall under other?
I don't know if there's actually any posted on our site that say other. Sometimes, although I take that back, I'd have to look. But sometimes people will post an announcement. It's more of a, go to our website and find information. But you're not actually, it's not for a grant. It's hard to really describe. I don't think many agencies select other. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, if you're finding stuff posted as other, I would reach out to that federal agency and find out what it is, and get your answers that way. So basically what Grants.gov is it's a tool for federal agencies to use and applicants to use.
Okay. Can a sole proprietor business apply for a state or federal grant?
A sole proprietor would be like an individual?
Correct.
There are some
where there's no difference between they're a business, but it's not a separate entity from the individual. Like a corporation is considered an individual separate and apart from the individuals that started it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of grants, and in the grant description, they'll tell you what kind of organizations are authorized to apply.
Right.
So they will say nonprofit organizations, they'll say government or agencies, they'll say Indian tribes. They will tell you in their description who they want to apply.
Yes.
So you'd have to look for one.
That would be under eligibility criteria. Yeah.
Okay. And a sole proprietor business is a for-profit business. Some grants are specifically for nonprofit organizations.
They'll list what the eligibility is.
Okay.
There's a whole list. If you look under eligibility, it'll list all the things that you could potentially see an agency post as part of their opportunity.
Cool. Some good basic information. All right.
It's very basic, sorry.
Oh, no. I mean, basics.
In a lot of detail that I'm sure, yeah.
You have to start in kindergarten before you move to high school.
It's not exciting, but anyway.
It's good detail. It's good information to know. So it's right at 1 o'clock now. So on behalf of the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, the Office of the Delegate to Congress, and our staff on St. Thomas, St. Croix, and our state director, we want to thank you, Ms. Judy Ceresa, for your time and effort this afternoon. We look forward to sharing the PowerPoint presentation with our audience, and hopefully we'll get a lot more grants written up and requested to organizations in the Virgin Islands.
That would be wonderful.
Yes.
And
yes.
best of luck to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good day, folks, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you. You all too. Bye-bye.